This lesson is CSS3 Transitions and Styles. In this lesson, you'll learn how to use the CSS transition feature in Dreamweaver CC, and you'll be creating an animated navigation menu. Specifically, you'll be looking at the CSS Transitions panel and working with the duration, delay, and easing of your CSS properties. But first, we need to define a Dreamweaver site for your DW07 lessons folder. Once you've defined your site, open 07nav transition.html. So here we have a finished layout, and let's just quickly take a look at this layout inside of our browser. So I'll preview in my browser, and what we're paying particular attention to are the CSS styles that dictate the navigation. Right now, when you hover over your navigation menu, you can see that the different categories light up. So this is all based on CSS, and in particular, hovering. So I'm hovering over these links, and you can see them changing color. So this is nice, but what we'd like to do is add a little more sophistication to this. So perhaps we want that color to fade in slightly, or even perhaps have the color of the text fade in as well. Right now, it's either on or off. So let's close our browser and return to Dreamweaver. In the past, we would have to do something like this using JavaScript. What you can do now is use CSS transitions, and we do this using the CSS transitions panel. I'm going to drag my CSS transitions panel, and from here I can create a new CSS transition. To create a new transition, we'll click the Create New Transition button. Since we want to target our navigation, the rule we want to choose is Navigation ULLIA, so that we can target the hover state of our anchor links. For the Transition On dropdown, we want to select Hover. And for now, we'll leave the next setting to use the same transition for all properties. We'll change that in a moment. The property that we want to animate is the background color. For the duration, we'll choose 400, but be careful because the default option is seconds, and 400 seconds would be a long animation. So let's choose millisecond from the dropdown. We won't have a delay because we want the animation to occur as we mouse over our links. We will apply a timing function which controls the rate at which our animation takes place. For example, we can have our animation ease in slowly and then out slowly as well. So we'll choose ease in out. Finally, we have to choose an end value. We could click the color picker and choose any color, but we will add our custom color, which is 9FCC41. This may seem like an arbitrary color value, but it's in fact the same color that we're using in our current hover rule. Essentially, what we're doing is overriding or replacing the previous hover state with our new transition. Now we can click Create Transition, and we can see that in our transition panel, our new transition is displayed with the hover state showing 5 instances. This is because Dreamweaver is smart enough to realize that we have 5 instances of our menu item with which we want to target the hover state. Let's preview how this looks in a browser. So we'll choose File, Save All, and File, Preview in a browser. A quick word of caution about browsers, however. While most browsers support CSS3 transitions, Internet Explorer 9 and earlier still have some small problems with them. However, Internet Explorer 10 handles transitions just fine. I'm going to be choosing Safari. And now as I mouse over my menu items, you'll notice a nice smooth transition that comes in as that background color changes. So this is a good start, but let's say we also want to animate the color of our link so that it changes to maybe a dark green as we mouse over our menu items. So let's close the browser window and return to Dreamweaver. To modify our transition, we can double-click on the hover. This time we'll go back and change the Use the Same Transition for All Properties dropdown. We want our color to animate at a different pace than our background. So we'll choose Use a Different Transition for each property. The property that we want to target is color, so we'll click Add Property and choose Color from the list. For the duration, we'll go with 500 milliseconds, choosing milliseconds from the dropdown. This time we want a delay so that as the background color fades, then our font color fades. So we'll add 100 milliseconds of delay. For our timing function, We'll again go with ease in out. Lastly, we'll set the end value, and we'll choose a dark green color using #060. We'll now click Save Transition. We'll save all, and again, preview this in the web browser. Now, as I mouse over, you'll notice that the background color changes, and then after a brief delay, the color of the text changes as well. So we now have a nice, smoothly animated menu. So that's it for now. In this lesson, we learned how to use the CSS transition feature in Dreamweaver CC, and we created an animated navigation menu using the CSS transitions panel and working with the duration, delay, and easing of our CSS properties. This lesson has been CSS3 Transitions and Styles.